That's dedication. All right. Well, speaking of this man, a Swedish Zerg spawning in the bottom left side of Oxide, now living in Canada, and that's why he's participating in this region. His body is full of Coca-Cola at this point. Can he turn it into some phenomenal Link Micro? We're about to find out. This is Namshar.
And spawning over in the top right-hand side as our Blue Zerg in this Psystorm team kill, it is JonSnow.
That really was quite a sight, man. Like, I'm used to the Koreans barely being able to hold up a 0.5 bottle of water, you know? They kind of like almost falls out of their fingers, their hands are shaky. Namshar just grabbed a 2-liter bottle of Coke and almost one-shotted it. That's pretty sick.
Oh, I love that, where it's like, yeah, the little bottle, it's like 200 milliliter bottle. It's like, oh, I can't even touch my face kind of thing. Like, can't put it on my lips. I'm just hanging it over with 2 hands. But yeah, Namshar, he didn't give a crap, man. He was just like, oh, I'm on camera? Frick it, let's chug the whole thing. But yeah, that was beautiful. What a way to start things off. I'm already excited.
Me too. It seems like we have very standard openings here on Oxide. Neither player going for a pool first, none of them going for a 12 pool. I mean, especially in Korea, we actually still see the 12 pool drone pool on this map every now and then. Seems like both of these guys are going to take a macro-oriented approach at first. But I really do feel that throughout the series, it has to be JonSnow as the aggressor, right? Like, Namshar is going to try to get up to X amount of drones and build roaches. JonSnow is much more of a let's make a lot of Lings and Banes kind of guy and make something happen.
I'm just thinking of the last time I actually got to see both these guys play. I know it was last season, a few games here and there, but I think JonSnow, I saw him in a ZVT where he was playing Ling Muta Baneling, and I can't remember exactly who he played, but he played pretty decently. Like, mechanically, he still got it, you know, and he talked about how maybe part-time is this thing, kind of, you know, almost a Wilmu-esque situation. But yeah, I'm with you, because Namshar, he's very often been the guy that's very comfortable with, like I said, not really scouting too much, but just having a plan and going through with it all the way.
Well, JonSnow made his links just a little bit earlier than Namshar, so Namshar's gonna have to micro here for a little bit, because you really don't want to let these links get a cancel. There are 2 extra links on the way. Where are Namshar's extra links? They are coming, but this is still going to be 6 against 4. Is there a world where these links get a cancel? Probably not, but he's definitely making this uncomfortable for Namshar.
Not just uncomfortable, but he wins the fight, and Namshar's having to produce way more links than he probably was thinking about doing. I'd say this is a damn good start for JonSnow, even though...
Oh my goodness.
Well,
gets another one. Kills 3 Zerglings so far. Now there is a queen that's going to come over, and that's finally going to get Namshar out of the woods. Namshar is building a lot of links, but he didn't have a Baning Nest yet. While JonSnow's Baning Nest is about to finish up. Now JonSnow has a big spell of links on the way, and that's when he's going to go drone behind this, or he's going to drone up behind this. Let's see if there is any potential for JonSnow to get something done with the links and the additional links that he picked off earlier.
How do you feel about that second gas from JonSnow? To me, that's like he's going to go all in, balls to the wall here, and a bit of a Ling skirmish does go on here, which JonSnow reaps the rewards, and yet again, he's thrown down a Roach Warren, so that's why he wanted that gas. He's really going full aggro here. I know he's making a few drones, but kind of has to.
I mean, he took that extractor, but he didn't actually utilize it immediately. It was there for quite some time. Now, JonSnow is going to send his Banelings and links to the other side of the map, but Namshar is getting 5 defensive Banelings himself. They are very close to finishing up, so I feel like Namshar should be okay. But Hatchery is still quite low on HP. We can't forget about that. This Baneling is just buying some time. JonSnow is just trying to create a lot of chaos. Oh my goodness, gets a massive connection with his one Baneling. And don't forget about the Hatchery. It's so low on HP. The Banelings could kill it. He doesn't want to use the Banelings to kill it, but in the end, he gets the links, he gets the hatchery. Man, JonSnow is just playing really solid so far.
He is, but he's still behind in supply. And I don't want to say that's everything when he just killed the hatchery, but he's behind in supply when he just kind of produced 10 roaches at once. Oh, those banelings in the main. Are they actually in vision of anything there? I don't think so, right?
Yes,
they are. They're actually well envisioned. Yeah, the queen does pop up. Queen is trying to get the block off here.
Yeah, but one queen is not going to get enough DPS off. Okay. That kills the larva.
This isn't a bad counterattack, but seeing all those roaches already, for Namshar, that's definitely going to be a little bit of worry there. And he does start his own roach warren up. He's more than halfway to a lair.
Yeah, JonSnow is just going to all in at this point. Like, he's making nothing but links behind this. His slow roaches are making their way to the bottom side of the map. Namshar is going to try to buy some time with a counter, because that is what he needs, right? He's going to get spine crawlers up, but that roach warren isn't even halfway done. I don't see how Namshar defends here. Is it possible?
I don't think so, Kev. I mean, if he had a full wall off here or an Evo chamber going up to make the wall, maybe he'd bought a bit more time, but this counterattack's decent, but I think he's just got too little. And the Baneling connections, they're not against the Banelings either. Oh, look at that wall off from the roaches. The Banelings just chase those drones into the main base. This was a nicely executed game from JonSnow.
Yep, the early game micro with the Zerglings was honestly very, very sexy. He killed 3 Lings, kept all of his Lings alive, and did way more damage on the other Zerglings of Namshar too that Namshar was able to save. But they were so low in HP that they weren't actually able to prevent the other Zerglings that JonSnow had left over that were just attacking the hatchery. And it put the hatchery really low on HP, and that is what obviously allowed the follow-up attack with the Lings and Banes to be as successful as it was. Well done by JonSnow. He honestly looked very good in that game.
It was just very clean, right? Like everything that he did. Even the attack there where he did get the hatchery kill, he kind of almost distracted Namshar with everything that was heading into the natural. Like Namshar ran to defend that with 5 Banelings instead of sending them over to save his 3rd base. JonSnow just looked the more solid player. Micro-wise, strategy-wise, just everything looked a bit more put together.
Maybe like on the economic point of view, it was a bit weird, right? Because that extractor was taken very early, wasn't using it. Then I feel like if he wanted to go up to X amount of drones, maybe he could have gone there or could have gotten there in a slightly smoother way. But the micro was really on point, and then when he felt like he could go in for the kill, he just went for it. So he was decisive. Well done, JonSnow, 1 on the board. I'm halfway right, man.
Mate, you're looking clean right now. You're looking clean. If that first game's anything to go by, I wouldn't be surprised if it's a 2-0 for JonSnow. I mean, maybe the cameras go on Namshar again. Maybe he needs to swig the other half of that big bottle of Coca-Cola just to get enough sugar in his system.
Wouldn't do that. I think we had enough.
I think he had more than enough. Honestly, water's great, kids. Water's great.
Water is great. Let's go ahead and hop into game 2 between these two Zerg players to figure out who is going to improve their record in this group to 2 wins and 1 loss. In the bottom left side, we're looking at the main base of our Swedish Zerg. He's down 0-1 in this best of 3. It is Namshar.
And spawning over in the top right-hand side, as the blue Zerg, it is JonSnow. How do you think JonSnow feels about his name? Because I can imagine for maybe the first few seasons of Game of Thrones, he felt very good about being JonSnow.
I think he's completely okay with it, man.
You think he's completely okay with it? All right, all right. Yeah. I mean, say if you called yourself something else, like, you know, the Night King, maybe you wouldn't be so okay with it?
I don't really put that much thought into it. I think a name is either good or it's not. JonSnow, I think, is not the most creative nickname ever, but it's not a bad one. Namshar, I think, is kind of unique and cool. It's okay. Don't really overanalyze nicknames.
Have you talked to Baby Marine about his nickname?
Yes, I told him I don't like it.
You did? So you don't mind nicknames, but you told him you don't like his nick?
Yeah, like Baby Marine, like, I was like, you can't be like 24. And Sue is like, and the champion of the Inter Extreme Masters Katowice is Baby Marine. And I was like, at that point, you're like a grown man. Like, you can't be having that, you know?
Yeah, it's kind of funny you say that, because TY initially was called Baby, which, like, going into StarCraft 2, he changed his nickname and stuff, which I think was a really good move, honestly. But anyhow, getting into this game, like, the pools are going up, the hatcheries are going up as well. No shenanigans from either one of them. Like, there's no 12 pools and all that jazz. So definitely a bit of respect being thrown out.
Another youngster that I actually told to change his name. Like, I don't know if he still plays anymore because I haven't seen him in forever, but he was very active 6 to 8 months ago. Was the Belarusian Terran player called Wannabe Björn. Do you know him? Have you ever heard of him?
Yes.
He was actually very good, like a legit 6K, and he's like a 14 or 15-year-old kid from Belarus. And I was like, mate, I love everything about you, but we gotta change that name, man. You can't be Wannabe Beyond forever.
It's like the DRG Ling guy, you know? Like his name is literally Tom Regu Ling, but it's like, oh, are you just like a mini version or something? It's like, oh, I'm DRG Ling, man. But anyhow, the third bases do go down. JonSnow does go for the more forward third, whereas Namshar the more defensive third. That's exactly what we were talking about beforehand about who probably wants to be the aggressor in this kind of matchup.
Mm-hmm. It also felt that last game, both the tech buildings of Namshar were a little bit late, right? The Bailing Nest was quite a bit later than the Bailing Nest of JonSnow. And then the Roach Warren was really late. Like, his Roach Warren was halfway done. Obviously, at that point, like, I know he took a lot of damage already. Seems like JonSnow actually plans on skipping the Bailing Nest here, right? I feel like whenever they make this many lings early on, they don't actually want to drop a Bailing Nest. They just want to go straight into Roaches and get a little advantage like that.
Yeah, and you saw him dancing a little bit there, just trying to group up all his lings when he can. Namshar now knows what he's up against, but he did make quite a lot of drones, so he's going to be holding this with the bare minimum that he can. Bailing's only just morphing in. This is
that Queen is in trouble.
Yeah, it's going to get a bit Larry.
Let's see how good the micro is of JonSnow. He sees those morphing Banelings. There are quite a few Zerglings nearby. He knows that they now have finished up. One Queen has gone down. The hatchery takes a lot of damage. JonSnow has split off a lot of his lings into the natural. Really good job avoiding those Banelings. Man, JonSnow has got some really sexy micro, doesn't he?
Yeah, he definitely does. Like, I mean, the macro back at home, that might be slipping a bit. He's going up to, but he's actually got...
That hatch?
No.
The hatch?
I take it all back. He isn't slipping at all. He was just saving up money for those roaches. And he's got a lot of surplus supply to spend as well. So, yeah, I think JonSnow came more than prepared for this series because he's came with fire.
He picked off 2 queens there as well, and obviously queens are normally very good defensively, especially because they can gather up some energy over time. They can start healing up each other. Now Namshar gets to the other side of the map, and he's like, whoa, you've got roaches? If I'm Namshar at this point, I really don't make another drone anymore. Just wait until that Roach Warren finishes up, even if it's a bit uncomfortable that you're floating all those resources. But that is what he's doing, and I really do think that's the correct call, because the one thing he just needs right now at this point are units. I wouldn't even have hated the Spine Crawler, actually.
No, me neither. Another ling there, popping the Banelings by JonSnow. That was a nice move. Has to give up this hatch. Like, there's no point trying to defend it. Oh! But he couldn't anyway. He's got lings in his main base here. Like, JonSnow's playing a really good ZVZ. Very chaotic.
Oh, that Roach one is so exposed, by the way. I wonder what JonSnow is going to go for. He just wants to get on top of the drones in the natural. He's going to take out the Queen. All the Banelings pop there. I don't know if there was a manual detonation or some target fire by JonSnow, but the Banelings are gone. The Zerglings are getting some decent surface area. Namshar, his first roaches are on the way. I mean, don't forget that he had a very big economic advantage, but I don't know if he can stabilize, man. He's got 1 queen. It's in the main base. It's not helping out here. Does JonSnow just have a bit too much, man?
I think he does, Kev. He's left the third base up, so if Namshar can stabilize, but I don't think he can. He's up to out of 98 supply as well. I don't think he ever went over 60, 70 supply this game, so maybe that was a bit of a fumble as well. And JonSnow, he's making quick work of the Swede.
JonSnow's Ling micro in the early game was just excellent, man. That's really what gave him the W in this entire series. Of course, he was hyper-aggressive. He was willing to end these games short. He didn't want to let Namshar do what he does best, and that is run around with a whole bunch of roaches and ravages of 3 or 4 base economies. But the early game Ling micro by JonSnow was just top-notch.
Yeah, he looked great, Kev. He looked great. Like, even when I thought he made a mistake macro-wise, he didn't at all. And like this, it's just a terrible situation for Namshar. No longer does he have the drone lead. He's trying to fight back with everything that he can, because this is a pretty meaningful match. I think they were both 1-1 in this group, and third goes down. Just Namshar's life is crumbling around him.
Yeah, I think Namshar knows what time it is. He's just trying to figure out how all in is JonSnow. Is there a way for me to make some magic happen on 2 bases? Well, definitely not on 1 base, as the natural was falling as well.